The goal has always been the same. It is to provide a space where folks can find their community as they are doing the difficult work of working with movement, being in social justice, and finding their place in philanthropy. The Fellows for Southern Progress is a community of practice. We developed it as a leadership cohort, and it has gone through a lot of revision, a lot of iterations, really just to get to this pilot place.
A part of GSP's mission is to cultivate leadership. And the best way for us to do that is to really arm our leaders with an analysis around why we do this work in the South, with an analysis around how race factors into that. And so we created a cohort, and that cohort was designed essentially just to arm our folks with the right information to go inside of these social justice foundations or foundations in general to really help them fight back against the systems that are pushing against why people don't want to fund the South.
So I joined the FSP program, one, because I wanted to make a connection with other people who were from and love the South. The South has always been a dear place to me. I'm a child of the South. And so I really wanted to be surrounded by people who knew the culture, who loved the culture, who saw themselves in the culture, and who really wanted to do right. This is some really hard work. One, just sort of living in the world, but also working in philanthropy. And so I really wanted to learn from others about how I could sort of ground myself, learn how to care for myself and care for others.
The fellows are working on visioning for the future. What is philanthropy going to look like? What does it look like now? And then what do we want it to look like in 2050 if we can imagine the future we want to build and what we know can be possible? Throughout the fellowship, we've talked about the history of the South and about philanthropy. We've talked about what is happening now and now where we want to be.
The retreat space, being able to think together away from our everyday patterns was also a tremendous gift, to be able to step out of those routines and to create some new ones. And so I've learned those areas of connection with each other as faculty members, but also leaning into leadership skills, being able to really step into a new voice and a new place of leadership, of a program, and encouraging as a coach to individuals who really are coming with concerns about their everyday existence in philanthropy. And I think that shows a lot of care for their work and for the people that they serve from day to day.
I was drawn to join Fellows in the first place because I was looking for a space as a young person in philanthropy where I wouldn't have to compromise my identity in order to be professional. The fellowship has impacted my experience of philanthropy by letting me know that it's safe to keep it real. Like Andre Benjamin says, the South got something to say, and I'm in a space where we believe that that is inherently true. And it's nice to know that I don't have to shrink that part of myself, especially in the philanthropic sector.
They're doing such direct work in community. And so it's about care and sustainability for them, again, being at that intersection between being in the system that we're trying to change and resourcing our communities, which in and of itself takes so much. And how the fellows gather is about their sustainability in this work. And it's also about how we are training our next generations. How are we passing along not just the resources of a grant, but the information to our grantees and to our community about how we're actually going to be involved in this work, even if we do have financial resourcing? How are we going to pass on, in terms of how we're going to shift in philanthropy, what the actual culture is of philanthropy? Because the first start to even changing how we do it from a liberatory and a reparative place is shifting the culture.
We know that if philanthropy focuses on the South, we can all get there, not just for the South, but for the country. As the South goes, so goes the nation, and we know that. And so we really want to bring the fellows here to the South, the ones who aren't from the South, or the ones that are from the South, to visit different parts of the South, because the South it's a multitude of experiences, and it's not homogenous. Like sometimes, folks might think who aren't from here, or don't live here, don't know the South well, but it is all kinds of cultures and places. There's rural places, there's urban places, there's similarities between those, and there's differences too.
So I think that the experience convening at Alex Haley's house in Knoxville back in March was such a powerful experience for me. Being in that specific home, being on the land, and being able to really just reflect on the work that he did and the legacy that he built all while thinking about what we wanted to do in the South and what type of legacy we wanted to create. I think it was a real privilege and an honor to be in those types of spaces and to be there with other folks who understood the magnitude and the importance of those landmarks.
We have an opportunity. We have an opportunity to make sure we're making lives better for people, and that we're standing up and standing in place with people to fight against the very injustices that hold people down. And for me, that's what philanthropy needs to do. And I think we have the opportunity to get there, and I think we have the opportunity to be successful in that vision. But there's some changes that we need to make as a sector in order to make that vision a reality. And I think through the work of Grantmakers for Southern Progress and through all our partners that are out there, you know, we're going to go be in that fight every day, pushing against philanthropy to make the right choices, to make the right changes, to really support movement and community-based work in the South.